So inviting you to find whatever supports you need to come into a quiet space to practice. So it usually helps to just give a little bit of attention to how you are sitting or how you are lying, so that there's some sense of conscious choice about that. And as we usually say at the beginning of these meditations, we always have choice, control. You can completely disregard the guidance that you hear from me if you find it unhelpful, or you can use other guidance that you know supports you better. So we use various channels to access that sense of deep presence that we are all so nourished by when we experience it. So there's the channel of working through awareness of body sensations. Such as the different contact points between the body and what you're resting upon. And awareness of things like any sense of ease or tension or tightness in the body. Maybe noticing subtle movements in the various organs of the body, such as the organs of digestion. Or it could be the heart, the movement of the heart. Working gently in tandem with the wave-like quality of the breath. As we allow ourselves to be breathed in and breathe it out. There are other ways that we can wake up from the sort of autopilot that counts for normal living for many, many people. Such as checking in with what the mood is like right now. And bringing a soft, gentle attention to this, especially if we're aware that the mood is challenging or scary or feels like it could be overwhelming. And trusting as best you can that whatever the mood is, that this too belongs. It's not a mistake. It's what's here for us right now. And benefits from a little bit of wise and kind attention. And of course, sometimes when we're extremely raw, it can sometimes be a compassionate thing to not stay with that too long. But to find more neutral ways of tethering the mind. And the stream of thoughts themselves are another possibility in terms of anchoring the awareness. As best you can, simply noting that thinking is happening. And many people find it helpful to actually label the thoughts as a way of creating a little bit of space between the thoughts themselves and the one who is doing the thinking. And this labeling doesn't involve judging, but simply a recognition of what's there. So we might be saying words like planning, comparing, regretting, remembering, judging. Worrying. And then to stabilize the mind so that we don't get trapped by these thoughts, it's good to come back to the sense of the body. Or breath awareness. Or sound. The way the wind gets trapped in the trees and creates a sound. The way the wind wraps itself around corners and buildings and rooftops. And creates various sounds. And of course, one of the deepest objects of attention that we might choose is the awareness of silence. So it's like the words you hear can provide containers or spaces where silence becomes more prominent. In the silence, we get the opportunity to make friends with all those aspects of ourselves and our experience that are unsatisfactory, problematic, troubling. And in a way, this practice that we do is not for the faint-hearted. And so the good news is, if you've turned up here tonight, you have all the courage you need to sit with whatever is present. To sit here on a Saturday night at 9 o'clock involves a certain giving up of other distractions and entertainments, to be with yourself with a naked honesty. Of course, it's possible to do that with a really bright, even harsh light of full attention. But that wouldn't be mindfulness. When we bring the light of the heart all of that attention to the stillness within, is suffused, bathed with the light of kindness and acceptance of ourselves just as we are. If we're honest, every one of us has a problematic life. But when we come to practice like this, when we inhabit each moment with a commitment to full awareness, all of our life situations or problems can, at least for that moment, fall away. We can be freed of the story that we tell ourselves about our lives. We can be free of the stories that we tell others about who we are. And just allow presence to grow inside us. And I'd like to close this evening's meditation with a quotation from the work of Pema Chodron. She has a beautiful book called When Things Fall Apart, Heart Advice for Difficult Times. So here's a little piece of wisdom from her. She says, the way to dissolve our resistance to life is to meet it face to face. When we feel resentment because the room is too hot, we could meet the heat and feel its fieriness and its heaviness. When we feel resentment because the room is too cold, we could meet the cold and feel its iciness and its bite. When we want to complain about the rain, we could feel its wetness instead. When we worry because the wind is shaking our windows, we could meet the wind and hear its sound. Cutting our expectations for a cure is a gift we can give ourselves. There is no cure for hot and cold. There is no cure for hot and cold. Of course, many of us continue to look for the cure, the wanting life to be easier and perfect. And so this practice that Pema Chodron talks about is quite advanced, I would think. So it's good to forgive ourselves and be accepting of ourselves if we're not quite ready to completely follow the advice.